Alright guys, don't forget, if you want to buy any of the books you see on your screen, there is a link down below where you can do that. It really helps us out a lot. And you can find them all at that link. And also, if you want to help support the channel, we really appreciate our supporters. We could really use your help. So if you can, and if you want to, you can donate through PayPal or buy me a cup of coffee over on Ko-Fi.com. Yeah, buy me a coffee or two. That tremendously helps us out. We always appreciate it. And we thank you. Alright, let's get started. Hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give you guys some cheat codes for living in Cambodia and Siem Reap in particular. And they're not really cheat codes like you're going to be cheating the system or anything like that. These are just some tips and maybe some hints that might help you out a little bit, especially if it's your first time here. You might not know how to go about doing certain things, you know. Because we were all like that once, no matter how much somebody professes to know everything about a different country. We were all newbies once, right? We all experienced that first culture shock and and even now sometimes I'm standing there under certain circumstances saying I don't know what's going on. So everybody still learns if you haven't grown up here. And Cambodia is not really a hard place to get to know. You probably already realize most of the people here are very friendly. And they'll be more than willing to help you out if they can. But there are some things you can do to maybe make your life a little easier, a little better, maybe a little less expensive. And I'll start with the first one, which is transportation. When you first get here, of course, you want to get around, you want to see things, you want to do things. And if you plan to come over here long term and buy a motorbike, that's absolutely fine. You can do that fairly easily. But if you prefer not to go that route, not everybody is a motorbike person, you're probably going to have to rely on longer distances with either a pass app or a tuk-tuk. Now the difference between the two is that a tuk-tuk, generally speaking, are independently owned by the person driving it. They set their own rates. There's really no set rates for the bigger regular size tuk-tuks. And of course they have to deal with their own expenses, repairs and gas and all that stuff. That's why I always tell people to download the Pass app. Now Pass apps are those small little boxy ones you see around, and even though you can't get you know, maybe two regular sized people in there, they're the least expensive way of getting around. But here's how you can save yourself even more money. Download the Pass app, and if you request a pickup and then type in or pin on the map the location you want to go at the bottom, it will give you the price of how much that ride will be. That means you don't have to negotiate. You don't have to worry about a higher price once you get there or anything like that. However, here's the little cheat code. If you don't want to wait around for a random Pass app, but you don't want to pay too much for your ride, go to the Pass app, type in all that information, where you are and where you want to go, get the price, and then flag down or walk up to, like this one here, any Pass app you see, and just hop in. You can often negotiate an even better deal than what it would be on the app. And who knows, you might find your next favorite driver. And the reason for that is because when you use the Pass app, in the actual app, these drivers all are contracted with that company, and so the company will take a certain portion of your fare. That goes to them, and the driver gets less. That's why most drivers that drive Pass apps are more than willing to work with you individually without having to go through the app, because then they get to keep all the money. So they're often willing to do that for a little bit less than even what the Pass app says, because that's all going to them anyway. That works a surprising amount of the time. And the other thing this does, if that's the route you plan to go, is that you'll know if somebody's trying to give you a price that's you shouldn't be paying. Like if you see on your app that you can get from point A to point B for $1.25, but then somebody's trying to tell you it's going to be $2 or $2.50, yeah, you have that option to just say no thank you, either find another one, flag one down, or just use the app itself. So you can often use these apps I'm going to talk about as a way to figure out what the prices would be and then negotiate a better deal for yourself. And I would say the same thing about using a food delivery app. Now, I prefer Food Panda. There are several food delivery apps here. I like Food Panda because they often give great discount codes if you order a certain amount of food. I've never had an issue with getting my food or delivery time or anything like that. So in my opinion, I prefer the Food Panda app. But you will find a lot of times, even more so than on the transportation apps, you will find a lot of times the prices in the restaurants, if you order through the app, are going to be a lot higher, and sometimes a lot higher than if you just walked into that restaurant and ordered. And the reason for that is the same thing with the Pass app, because Food Panda takes a cut of their profit if you use the app, because of course, and sometimes, a lot of times, there's also a delivery charge added to your order from the app, generally about 50 cents. But you can save on that if you're going to be out anyway, because if you open the Food Panda app, find a restaurant, find a dish that you really like, it will let you know exactly where that restaurant is based on your location, like in Google Maps. And then you can just go there and either eat inside that restaurant or pick up your food there and not order through the app, and that way you get a much better bargain. And that's like I said, that's a pretty frequent thing. I know there are some restaurants that tell people, you know, we don't raise our prices on our apps, it's the same no matter what, and that's true. But a good portion of the restaurants you'll find in the app do charge more, just to simply pay for the app fees, delivery fees, and all that. However, if you do want it delivered through the app, like I said, Food Panda often gives various discount codes, and you can apply those vouchers right in the app for whatever it is you're ordering. So if you don't feel like going out, you have that option. And you can even get groceries delivered. And that's my next cheat code, I guess you can say, for you guys, is that if you want to have groceries delivered, there are many ways you can do that. There's Wing Mall through the Wing app. There's Yum24, that's another delivery app. And there's Food Panda. They have their own Panda Mart where you can find most of the things you need and have those groceries delivered. So if you don't feel like going to a local market, you don't feel like going out, and you just want to get your food delivered, I'm going to talk about one that not a lot of people talk about, and I don't know why. It's called Cam Happy Mart. If you go to camhappymart.com, all one word, Cam Happy Mart, CAMHAPPYMART.com. And they, in my opinion, they have the best prices for a grocery delivery service. And that's all they do is groceries. They do fresh fruits, vegetables, herbs, beverages, snacks, all the meat you can want, you know, chicken, pork, and beef, and fish, and canned goods, and bread. Almost anything you want can be found on the Cam Happy Mart website. The downside is that they only accept cash upon delivery, so they don't take credit cards or debit cards or anything like that. But the couple times we have used them, the products were as advertised. There were no extra fees attached, no hidden charges, and everything was really smooth. Didn't take long to get there, generally within 15-20 minutes, and that will save you some time and some money from using some of these other apps that charge more. Now, with that being said, your best bet is to, of course, go to a local market or a local mom and pop shop if you want to save the most amount of money, because even Cam Happy Mart's prices are a little bit higher than what you would find at a local market. For instance, a drink that you could buy for 50 cents, let's say, a Coca-Cola or something at a local mom and pop shop, which are everywhere, that would cost you 60 to 70 cents on their website, depending on what kind of beverage you want. So it's not much more, you know, 10, 20 cents. But it is a little bit extra charge. However, they are cheaper, like I said, than any of the other delivery apps as far as I've experienced. And I haven't used any of the other ones in a while, so perhaps that's changed, but I am happy with Cam Happy Mart. I think they delivered all my goods with no problem. And speaking of food, if you want to go out and you want to shop at the local market, you have the option of a Western style supermarket like Anchor Mart or the Asian market or something like that, where they're going to have the brands and varieties of food that you might be more used to, that you might prefer even, and that's fine, nothing wrong with that. They will come at a premium price though, because, you know, they're being imported. But I would suggest that anything that you can find at a local Khmer, like wet market or open air market, get it from there. It is going to be a lot less expensive than at a big supermarket, and you also know it's going to be fresher. Like at the supermarket, they're all the meat and all the food is wrapped up, you know, in the styrofoam thing and wrapped with the whatever you call it, saran wrap or whatever. But you have no idea how long that's been sitting there. When was this prepared? When was this ready to go? But generally, the local markets, starting about 7 o'clock in the morning, that's where you find the freshest stuff. And one time we were at Salu, which is the biggest market here in Siem Reap. This thing is huge. It's like a little city within the city, you know. I love Salu. And you know, we saw a couple, they had this big, huge pig that they were just butchering fresh right there on the spot as a center point of their business, with its head already off, staring out at the crowd, you know. And I know I talked to a person recently who said, I don't, you know, their whole opinion is, and there's nothing wrong with this, is like, I don't want to see how the sausage is made, I just want to eat the sausage. So that's not going to be for everybody. But the whole reason why there were a bunch of people lining up to buy it is because they could see that this is a fresh pig. They are butchering it as they go. What do you want? You want a couple ham hocks? Okay, well, chop, chop, chop. Fresh off the pig, right into a plastic bag, right into your hands. It's going to be fresh. Usually vegetables and fruits are really, really fresh here also. Just beware of seafood sellers who, like most seafood sellers, will have their product on ice, of course, because it's so hot here. So beware of those where you see that they're just floating in water, because even if the water feels cold, you know, seafood can go bad pretty fast. So just use your best judgment. But I always use the sniff test. That's my cheat code for you at the markets. The sniff test never fails. I don't care if there are flies buzzing around those chicken breasts and you have to keep waving them off. I'm going to pick one up and I'm going to smell it. If it doesn't smell like much of anything, just what you would expect, I'm going to buy it because it's fresh enough. It's never made me sick. It's never had any adverse reactions to it. So always trust your nose there. And I'll give you this last piece of advice. Use and this is concerning visas. When you can get a visa on arrival in Cambodia. You also have the option of getting one beforehand on the website, and that website is listed down below if you want to go that route. But it's much easier in my opinion, and again that varies depending on who you ask, but in my opinion it's much easier waiting until you get here, because there's not the, when you do it online, there's going to be certain documents and other requirements you'll have to upload in order to receive an e-visa online, which is the one you need to have if you're going to stay here long term. So to avoid that, wait until you get here, because then it's a matter of going up to a counter. You tell them you want the e-visa. Somebody will give you a stamp. You'll go to the next window. They'll check it over, give it to you. Then you go through security and you're on your way. You just don't have to, you just don't have to worry about uploading other documents, sometimes having those documents fail, or having them make some kind of mistake before you get here. So to me, it's just much easier to wait till you get here. It's not that long of a wait. They don't have these huge long lines where you're waiting a half hour, 45 minutes anymore. They try to make it as quick and painless as possible. And speaking of arriving, in October, they're all set to open the brand new, big fancy Siem Reap Airport. And when they do that, the one we have now is going to not be in commission anymore. You're not going to be able to fly into that one. So keep this in mind if you're coming after October, because the new airport is like, I believe, Claire told me from Channel 4 Reel that it's like 60 kilometers or something like that, outside of the city. And that is going to be a very expensive tuk-tuk ride if you don't already have transportation arranged. Because right now, it's the one we have now is usually at the most you're going to spend $5 to get wherever you want in town from the airport. It's not that far away from the main areas of town. But this new one, that new one's a long way, so you can probably expect to pay, I don't know this for sure, but I'm guessing at least $20 for a ride into the city from that new airport in Siem Reap. So be sure you're carrying some cash with you if that's your plan to come after October. Because they don't take credit cards. It's a cash only deal with the tuk-tuk, so be sure you have enough cash to cover it. And like I said, I'm only guessing it's going to be $20. Maybe it'll be less, but maybe it'll be more. 60 kilometers is a long way, and like I said, tuk-tuks are independent operators, so they have their overhead and they got to make a profit on top of all their maintenance and gasoline and all that good stuff. All right, so I hope that helped you guys out a little bit if you're new coming here. And if you know of any more codes, any more cheat codes, anything that will help the new people, feel free to leave them in the comments below. It's always appreciated. And I will talk to you guys in the next one.